Aggravated Chaos Podcast. I am your host, Crystal Chaos. And today I am joined by a very special guest, Miss Jordan, Miss Pinup Jordan, as everyone knows her on Instagram, who is also the creator and runner and founder and all of the CEO things of the Rainbow Hair Convention.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here and talk to you about this.
So for those who are listening who are not familiar with you, tell them some things about yourself so they can get acclimated.
So background on me, I'm 36 years old. I started in the industry about 14 years ago. Prior to that, I went to school to become an attorney, was not happy doing what I was doing, and then went to Paul Mitchell School of Schenectady and got my hair license and started from there. And ever since the very beginning, I had a focus on fashion colors. Even when I was in elementary school myself, I was coloring my hair with Kool-Aid. So I've always just been that kid that was dancing to the beat of their own drum. And when I was in beauty school and I realized that I could make a career out of this, I was all for it. And so I've spent my entire career making vivid hair my specialty and the specialty of everyone at my salon. And so that's kind of my background in what I do. So I own Pinup Jordan's Mermaid Lounge, which is obviously a vivid specialty salon. I also own a marketing company with two of my friends, which, you know, we've been talking about transparency. And I think that's really important to mention that I do own a marketing company. So that is a huge part of what I do. And then I also co-own a family business with my brother. We own a comic book store that my dad left to us. So I've got my hands in a lot of different pots now that my career has gone over so many years. And now what's next is the Rainbow Convention, which is definitely spawned off of my entire 14-year career behind the chair.
I have no idea. And you have a kid.
And I have a daughter who has special needs.
So and I don't know how you do all of this. I'm sure Paul is a very big help when it comes to a lot of it.
I have an awesome husband, and I have honestly an awesome salon crew. They're my closest friends, and they work so hard for themselves and for me that all of this is possible because I have a really great team of people that love me and want to see all my crazy ideas succeed. So
yeah, when I got to work, so I did get to work at Jordan's salon in not this past fall, the fall before. So fall of 2022, which seems like forever ago.
It does.
But her and her entire team were very inviting. They were very kind. They were very open. And if I had to go back to working in a salon, with a staff, that would be you and Ruby would be those two salons. And also I think Hair Princess stuff. I've never been to her salon. I haven't met any of those girls.
I love her leadership though.
Right. But that's the type of environment that I would envision myself thriving in. Unfortunately, I've just never really been in a salon like that around here. And if I have, it was when I was right out of hair school and I thought I fucking knew everything and no one could tell me shit. So, but I do want to talk about the Rainbow Hair Convention, and I want to talk about because it got so much buzz for such a short amount of time, especially in the Vivid community, which is what it's geared towards, which a lot of us absolutely 100% appreciate. And I think a lot of people are wondering, why now? Why are we doing this now? Just tell us a little bit about how it was born.
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm a very competitive person. I love winning awards. I love getting nominated for awards.
How did I never know this about you?
Oh, listen, I'm obnoxious. I'm the person that will race you to the elevator to push the button first. I'm very competitive, but I don't think I'm the best, to be clear. I love to try to compete with the best though, because if I'm not, how do I get better like them? I try to use competition to inspire me and better me and not make me compare myself or tear myself down. And so I love competitions. And
that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Well, that's what, at the heart of it, that's what it really should be. And I want to be put up next to someone who's better than me, because I want to see, maybe they aren't better than me. Maybe I am better. Or there's been plenty of times that I have lost and I've been I deserve to lose next to that because that was really good. And I can totally admit that. So I don't think I'm the best, but I love competitions. I also feel that in the hair world, when I first started, there was like NAHA, and that is a very serious competition. It's expensive to enter.
It takes a huge team. Yeah.
It really does. It has to be so thought out. And, I don't want to, this whole time I'm like, I don't want to say behind the chair, but we'll say, just for the sake of comparison, behind the chair was the next thing to come out with the One Shot Awards, and that truly was our opportunity for people who weren't ready for NAHA to post pictures from behind the chair. And so that was my first experience into getting into this awards show world beyond social media or business awards. And so I loved the competition. I enjoyed the networking of it so much. And I have gone to it and entered it for like 9 years. But I think there's been a big shift in my own personal career over the last year or two. First of all, I've been taking a step back from behind the chair, doing hair full time as much. I've been, instead of working 5 or 6 days a week behind the chair, trying to work only 2 or 3 and focusing more on what makes me happy. So that's why we opened the social media marketing company. And so one of my good friends is a marketing specialist. One of my good friends is a photographer, and together we've been working with other small local businesses and helping them rebrand and grow themselves. And I've been just getting a lot of like value out of that. So
you're very involved in your like local area.
Yes, I love my local area. It's something that there's a lot of people that said a lot of negative things about where we're from because it can be a little bit rough. But when I grew up here, I realized that the only way to make it better is to be the better part of this. So that was why I was so passionate about establishing my business and keeping it here, was because the only way we're going to put Schenectady on the map is to actively contribute every day to making it better. So that's why I kept my business there. That's why I stay here. And that's why we're doing the Rainbow Convention here. And it was one of those things where I was like, why would anyone come to Schenectady, New York? And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, why not?
It's pretty.
Have amazing small local businesses. It's beautiful at this time of year. I chose the time of year because it's right after the Halloween rush for Vivid artists and right before the holiday rush for us, where we're just a little bit slow typically. And so, bringing everyone to Schenectady, I'm like, there's great small businesses. It's also a really diverse place. So you can walk down the street with your non-binary partner who's a person of color and hold their hand and be safe here. So the more I started thinking about it, the more I was like, actually, fuck yeah, Schenectady. This is exactly where we should be doing this. So, we're all capable of saying, hey, I'm going to give out an award. It's just a matter of like the planning, the money, the time. And I think enough clout behind it. Like, I've been doing this for 14 years. I've worked for dozens of brands. I've educated on stage, online. I've traveled all over the country, all over the world. And I've tried to maintain decent friendships with everyone. So like, I think that it's my next step where I was like, okay, I don't necessarily want to do hair, but I'm not done with hair. I love the beauty industry and I'll never leave. I love marketing and I want to get more into that and help other people grow their small businesses. I think there are things that were lacking for me out of other hair education that I wanted to start pulling in because they just didn't exist because the people that are putting them on aren't hairstylists. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, like I said, I'm a competitive person, so I want to recognize the people that I really admire. And so I know that other awards shows have years and years of clout behind them, but I'm hoping that people will want to enter this because of the judges I chose. I think that they're people that people admire. I think they are people that people respect. There is going to be, I'm never going to please 100% of the people all the time. So I know that there are people that have shit to say about some of the judges. And I've heard it from people myself that have come directly to me, and that's okay too.
And myself included.
I have a feeling we'll touch back on that by your face. Oh, okay. Yeah. But I'm trying my best. This is the first time I'm doing anything like this. This is a really uncharted territory for anyone, let alone a hairstylist. I am making this up fully as I go along using.
She said fully making it up.
Oh yes. I've thought about this for a really long time, and it was something that the local casino had approached me and was like, we noticed you going all over the place to these hair shows. Would you ever be interested in hosting your own here?
You guys have a casino?
We sure do.
I literally never saw that when I was there.
Yeah. It's not huge, but it's brand new and it's pretty nice. But it's smaller. And so
wait, that's going to be so fun with a bunch of hairdressers.
Well, and that's why originally I wanted it to be at that space. But once we went to go look at the space, they were kind of like, Well, we're a little bit worried about hair color being here. We don't want you rinsing any color down our drains
Oh,
or
because it's
dumping
brand
any
new.
water down our drains. Yes. And the other thing was, like, again, I am a hairstylist, so I want to protect you guys that are coming. And I know that when hairstylists come to events, they're going to stain the towels and they're going to do hair color in the room because it's the first time they've seen another hairstylist that's capable of doing their hair in 6 months.
Yeah.
So I have already spoken to the hotel that we got the room block at before I even booked the room block. And I said, if this is going to be a problem, let me know. We won't book here, but this is what we're going into. Let housekeeping know. And they were totally cool with it. So
yeah, bleach is a very real thing. Like they use white towels, you can bleach them.
Yes.
It's vivid hair color, you'll be fine.
But at my worst case scenario was we do it at the casino and then they charge everyone incidentals for their rooms. I'm not doing that to stylists.
And then nobody ever wants to come again. And
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really, really trying to think of every single thing I can to take care of everyone and every need they have that I can possibly take care of. So
you mentioned this earlier. You like how I'm like, you mentioned this earlier. And this is a question that I feel like a lot of people probably have because, and for the sake of like not comparing, but like everybody's doing it mentally anyways, you might as well just say it out loud. Mary has a fuck ton of money. You are a stylist who runs a business and you have a family and you're, for all intents and purposes, not a millionaire. So how are you affording to do this?
So kind of going back to the whole, like, I really support Schenectady thing. Schenectady really supports me. I'm very lucky that where I'm from, people are very proud of me. They want to see me succeed. They're proud that something as specialized as vivid hair and mermaid hair is something that we do here in Schenectady. So there's this armory. Now, an armory is where they used to like store armor and bullets and guns for the army. And when
wartime shit.
When they would come home from their tours, they would meet their families there and welcome them all home. And so it's got a lot of history. It's a very big, old, cool building. And so a property developer in the area. So I had been looking at a couple of different locations. The casino didn't work out. A couple of other ones didn't seem quite right. And on a whim, I was like, let me just see if this location could work. And they offered me such a deal on the building to rent it for 2 full days that I was like, okay. And then of course, I'm working with sponsors. So I want to do things a little bit differently than we typically do at hair shows where it's like the same exact hair color that you can buy at every beauty distributor any day of the week. Going back to the small businesses of Schenectady, we have a ton of artists here. So I really want to bring in some of our local jewelry makers. I have an airbrush t-shirt guy I want to bring in to make like the t-shirts.
Do you have like what is it? Like the permanent jewelry person?
The permanent jewelry person I was thinking about looking into.
Yeah.
Yes. So one thing, I don't even know if I should talk about it, but I'll say it because
even if it's tentative,
okay,
just say it's
just
tentative.
For the Aggravated Chaos Podcast, I won't tell anyone else. We won't announce it on social media in any other way. But one of the things that I'm working on, again, things that I've been missing from hair shows. One of those things is when I travel, I like to get a tattoo, but I can't because then I have to leave the convention. I have to make an appointment with someone reputable ahead of time. I have to navigate my whole day and get to that appointment. So I've been working with my tattoo shop and my tattoo artist for over a decade now. And we are applying for the licensing to be able to do tattoos on site at the convention.
Oh my God.
So
I'm so excited.
I am so excited. It's just kind of never been done before.
I hope they have one of those bubblegum machine things where it's like you get what you get.
Get what you get. They do have those in the shop. So whatever you want, like that's the cool stuff is like we can bring in whatever. So they'll have flash, like, hairstylist flash if you just want whatever. They will be thrilled probably to bring in the Get What You Get machine. And then if anyone wants to make a larger appointment before or after the convention, they have 2 shops very close by. So they are going to be one of the sponsors.
Excited.
Yes. And that was also one of the reasons I felt so comfortable moving forward with the 2-day event, because once I spoke to the tattoo shop owner and he was like, look, I got your back. You can do this, make it a 2-day event. And I was like, okay. So
we love another supportive business.
Yes, absolutely. And I've been trading services with my own tattoo artist that works for this owner, Scott. I've been trading with my tattoo artist for like I said, a decade. So I'm pretty much covered in her art. I'm a walking example of what you'll get from them. And of course, they'll have social media people can check out ahead of time. Another thing I've been missing too was like my body is fucking killing me every time I travel, every time I walk around these hair
Absolutely.
shows, long, long days. So I am bringing in chair massages. So if you're a massage person, not everyone is, but if you're if your body is killing you and you need a chair massage, these are all people that are clients at our salon as well. So we know them really well. They vibe with us really well. Their morals and values and principles are the same as us. So in addition to just having a physically relaxing environment, I think just the quality of the people that we're bringing in are going to be very, very like-minded. So basically I'm going to be paying for it with sponsors. That's how Mary pays for it. That's how everyone pays for it.
True.
It's just that they can charge a lot more. So to be honest, if I were to just have sponsors that were hair companies, I could make a lot more money off of this experience, as opposed to saying, here, I'll give you this table for $500. I could charge a brand $10,000 for that same table. But I want to do things so differently that I don't really care. And then of course I'm going to be charging for the tickets. That's one thing that right now everyone's like, how much are the tickets? I have no idea. I'm trying
I
so
feel
hard
like
to narrow
too,
it down.
it's very, anybody who's like, oh my God, I can't believe she's making a profit off of this. Like, be so fucking for real right now, because
Of course I am.
all
It
of
took off half a year to do this.
well, also we're all business owners. We're all
Yes.
in here, in whatever we're doing in the industry to make money. Like, yes, we're passionate about it, but that's the great thing about, being passionate about something and being able to make money at it is like, what's that saying? Like, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. That's what this is. And so I just wanted to point that out for anybody who's like, oh my God, I can't believe she said she's making money, because there's someone out there. But
and that's totally understandable. I think we've all done that thing where, like, as booth renters, you sit there and you add up how much rent you pay plus everyone else at the salon pays, and then you start thinking about how much your salon owner makes.
but how much do they pay out?
Right? Like, your salon owner is not rich. I am not rich as a salon owner. So same thing with the show. Like, I am putting my ass on the line for this. I'm taking off essentially half a year of work to be able to plan this event. It takes hours and hours of meetings and contracts that I'm writing myself. I 100% should be making thousands of dollars on this event, and I have no shame saying that. Anyone else who wants to throw an event like this should also make thousands and thousands of dollars.
Well, I mean,
I could also take a huge fucking hit. Nobody could come. And then I've run that risk of losing all that money. So
that's true.
Fortune favors the bold, and anyone could do this. I just was at a precipice in things where I was trying to make recommendations for change that were falling on deaf ears. And instead of waiting for someone else to change the way they were doing things, I decided I just had to do it myself. And there's no shade to anyone else. I love all the other competitions and what they're doing. Mine is just different.
Right. Well, I mean, when it comes to making money too, if you look at all these like extension girlies, and like, no shade, but shade, if you listen to the podcast, but like, they're charging like thousands and thousands of dollars for and no one bats an eye. People get on payment plans and they pay for it. And it's like, this should be no different. Like, you should be supporting.
Well, ultimately, at the end of the day, like, please understand that, again, like, I'm not pocketing everything, right? Like, I have always been about paying people fairly and paying artists. So if you think for 1 second that the people that are coming in to educate aren't going to be getting their flights paid for, their hotels paid for, and their day rates paid for, then you've lost your mind. Like, I have to charge people for this so we can bring all of these people together and get all of this unprecedented education in one place.
Well, I'm glad you said education, because a lot of people are very curious about that, myself being included, and I'm a judge. And I know you're like still in like the precipice of like, I don't even know if precipice is the right word, but we're going to go with it. I don't know. Like, you're still in the planning. So like, I know that there are still like a lot of things that are not finalized, but a lot of people are very curious, because that is one of the things about some of the other competitions is like, it is a big show and you're getting you're getting entertained, and that's great. But like, how much of that can you actually take to your salon and then make money off of the investment that you made in the show? So
I agree. I think for me, again, being that like I am a stylist and I am a working stiff, like I still have to come to work to make money. Like I own a salon, but they pay the bills essentially for the salon, and I still have to come here to make money. And so I understand things a little bit more, I think, in the sense that I want this to be the most value for people's money. Of course, I have to charge for tickets, but I'm not looking to charge thousands of dollars for tickets. It's going to be hundreds of dollars, yes, because I'm going to be bringing in all of these educators. But I also think that what we're doing is trying to sway the trends a little. We have, as stylists, we have a lot of control over keeping Vivids trending. And if we don't keep the education
relevant,
up on that, then we're all going to be falling out of what we're doing the most. And so what my goal was for this entire event was to educate on things that some people already know about, most people already know about, but also things that you haven't considered. So things like wigs. One of the girls that I'm bringing in is a wig maker. And for Vivids, especially, there are so many people that want Vivids but can't do them because of work or because of whatever. Wigs, why aren't we doing more wigs? And there are ways you can make wigs. So the artist that I would like to have come in and educate is someone that will show us how to do a quick install, how to do a glueless install, how to bleach the knots, things that like aren't Vivid specific. You can still apply these all to all hair color things. But like, when's the last time you learned how to do a wig installation?
Like literally never, or like
Never.
TikTok.
Exactly. So, and she is someone that so I don't want to drop her name just yet because I want her to send her contract first. But
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah.
But the person, so I met her. She's kind of a local person. She worked at our beauty distributor, and she was always just such a friendly, nice person. And then she started doing, her online education and selling her wigs. And now she's exploded. She has a huge following. She does these wig drops and sells out constantly. So she knows what the hell she's talking about. So in addition to like empowering people with education about wigs, she's also been really great about business. And then also the people that I'm choosing that I want to come speak are people that like I kind of have a good rapport with. Like I know them personally,
right.
And I think that they have a lot to offer. So she's someone, so wigs. Also festival braids, that's something that one of my stylists started off with me. It was fresh out of high school. Now it's Haley K Hair is off doing festival braids all over the place. She's huge on TikTok now. She has her own festival braiding hair.
I did not know that.
So Haley K is someone that I'm hoping will come back home for the event and teach that, because that's one way that's a bleach-free way to use Vivids. Same thing with extensions. I also have a tax person that I want to come in and do a brief, because I know we'll all be bored if we do it too long, but hey, here's all the stuff from this trip specifically you can write off. Things like that.
That would be great. Yeah. She said,
obviously you'll need to check with your the laws in your state and with your CPA. But just from a generalized standpoint, there's just been so many things that beauty school hasn't taught us and that hair shows haven't taught us, and that I had to learn the hard way. And and I'm still learning the hard way. And
well, just since starting my business, like the tax laws have changed, like the percentage amount of quote entertainment or travel has changed dramatically. So that I feel like that's going to be really great.
Right. So I just feel like I'm a little bit of a leader, and I would like to be a leader in the industry for a long time. Like I would like the Rainbow Convention to be something that starts a whole new wave of things for the future, and that we do this every year for the next 40 years. So.
Well, I think too, a lot of people like as long as it's been around and we feel like we've been in it for like a hot minute, the whole like influencer thing, whether it's our industry or any other industry, has really not been around that long. And so when you look at the hair industry, you kind of look at influencers or creators or people who are big on social media, have worked with a lot of brands. And it's like, where do you go from here? Like, what is the next step? So like, I think we're all just trying to figure out how to create our next step. And this just happens to be yours. So
yeah. And I think like ultimately hair is always something we have to fall back on. Like I never want anyone to forget why they started. I think, especially with the influencing thing, like I do educate for brands and I do influence and I do travel, but like that ultimately doesn't pay enough bills. I think you still need a hustle to fall back on. So for me, I was just pouring a lot of my energy into this in hopes that like it would start a whole new wave of hair show, like a change in a hair show, things that like people never thought of. And I wouldn't ever be against opening this up to making this a whole big hair show. But for right now, I love the idea.
Well, you start small.
Well, and it's not even that small. This is a space just for us. And I realized as soon as I started the page that like, there's more of us than I realized. And there are more stylists that feel like us than feel like, with all due respect to the balayage girlies, there are more of us than I realized. And we need a seat at the table that understands us. And I think also like politically for me,
That just was not aligning anymore.
It's not. Like, to me, in New York State, we are not legally allowed to gender hair color, hair cutting, any of our service prices, any of our menu items, nothing. So when I'm seeing things like a men's color category, I have a large non-binary and transgender clientele. Mm-hmm. What if I post a picture of a trans male in the men's color category and I win? And then people start coming for my client.
And then they want to take the award away from you, and this whole thing.
This is not high school sports. We're not fucking doing that. So,
but also, hair is hair. It grows the same. It looks the same. It does all the same things. It doesn't matter who it's on or what their preferences are. And if you had to say
barbering, like, I understand there's a cutting difference.
There's also a licensing difference with barbering. So
correct. So, like, I completely will make room for that, but we're not gendering hair in 2024. And so that was something for me that, like, I wanted people to know that they're safe and accepted. One of the reasons my businesses are as successful as they are is because we are politically loud about how we feel. And that is also a huge risk, but I would rather attract the people that come in, and I would rather push away the people that don't belong with us, and that's worked out well for me. So
Taylor Swift did it. Shit. Yeah, she's fine. Yeah. She's clearly thriving.
Yes, she's doing all right for herself.
So first of all, I love that. I think that's great. I think that it's a very, like, inclusive space, and I love that for us. The whole balayage girly thing, and again, this is, like, not against the balayage girlies or people who choose to make that their specialty, but I did make an episode about, luxury hair color, and, like, a lot of people think that vivid hair color comes off as cheap and it doesn't come off as luxury, and there's, like, a whole thing surrounding that where it doesn't. I know it is different from balayage, but at the same time, like, it's not any less than, and it's not any less than if you wear it. It's so much more time
consuming, and the specialty behind it, like, you have to be able to do balayage to be able to do vivids.
You have to be able to do bleach to be able to do vivids, period.
You have to be able to tone. You have to make that color really your bitch. Like, there's just so much respect that should be put on our names. That's not because of how we look. We look unprofessional.
Or because how people in power dictate that it's not relevant or whatever.
Well, it's almost like anything in politics, like, I hate to say, like, there's, like, the dinosaurs in politics where, like, we all disagree with them and we're like, we want them out, but, like, no one does anything about it. And so, not to compare the two, but I just mean, for me, like, I think it's time to modernize how we're doing things. And why are we giving people who aren't hairstylists so much control? Like, why am I putting so much weight on someone's opinion that shouldn't? So when I chose the judges, they were people that I was like, well, I would want the hairy godmother to look at my work and tell me, like, if it's good. I mean, not that you guys are going to go back and tell them what's good enough, but, like, I would say that if that group of judges selected me out of 10, I would feel incredibly honored, because they know what the fuck they're talking about on many different levels. And so, again, I'm hoping that people will feel honored by that. And especially because it's the first year, like, if you've even heard of it by this point, then you're kind of, like, in the know. And I'm hoping that next year will be even bigger and better. But, I'm also doing things a lot differently. Like, this is not an Instagram based contest. That's been very confusing for people. So to explain that really quickly, one of the things I was sick of seeing was the watermark, quite frankly. Like,
same.
Over and over. Like, I respect
it's huge.
You guys have got the marketing on this down pat. Again, from a marketing perspective, respect. But from an artist perspective, you're losing your work. I said
that same shit about Leaf and Flower when they were like, you have to put it in the picture. And it's like, no, like, that's not, and it doesn't even look like authentic marketing. Do you know what I mean? It just looks like I want to win.
Yeah. And in the beginning, I think it was almost, like, confusing in a beneficial way, because when people started doing it, it looked like you got a nomination, like, early on when they first started using it. It, like, brought a little clout. And now, I definitely think it brings some attention, but I'm not after that. I guess for me, what I was looking for is I want to see your best work. I want your best looks. So these looks can absolutely be taken from behind the chair. And I don't want people to put the not hot pressure on themselves of having to have a professional photographer. You can use your camera on your phone, or you can use some fake eyelashes, and you don't need to do a full face of makeup. But I do, because I've seen some really amazing work that's behind the chair that is win-worthy.
Well, it can be a back of head shot too. Like, that's one of the things that kills me about the other one is, like, we always want a pretty face and it's over edited. No, back of head shots are just as good.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of, for a long time, a lot of my clients don't want their faces in the shots.
Correct.
Like my clients are all over the board in terms of age and weight and skin conditions and things. Like they may not want their faces shown. And I felt this immense pressure because they were saying, we want to see more faces. So I was starting to do that. And I do think it makes the pictures more appealing. So I do want to see faces. I do want to see back of headshots. But the difference is that they'll get a jot form link on August 1st. And that's my birthday.
Happy birthday,
so August,
early.
Thank you. Yeah. So that'll be the best little birthday present, is to see everyone enter. And so they'll enter like their contact information. They'll enter up to certain categories require before pictures. Not everyone does. If you want to add a before picture, go for it, because sometimes that's the most impressive part, is how you got to point B, right?
Are you allowing collages?
So no, but they will get up to 5 after pictures to enter. So basically you'll get your up to 3 before pictures, up to 5 after photos of the same look. And then there'll be a small written portion, nothing crazy, but it'll be short.
And this is per entry?
This is per entry. So again, It makes it a little harder to enter. So we're not getting 30,000 entries. You can enter as many times as you want, but that way you're entering your creme de la creme, the best of your work, not 30 entries before midnight. I want people to see. Do you see what I'm saying? I want there to be
some thought into it,
and thought into it. Like I want it to be very purposeful. And so you can absolutely use old work that you've entered, as long as there's no other watermarks and as long as it's not over edited and fits the criteria. So up to 5 after photos. If you want to just send in 1, that's fine too. But the written portion, I think, and I admit, I took this from the Pravana Show Us Your Vivids contest. They wanted all your formulas and all this stuff because it was a promotional contest for their brand. But what I loved what I loved about entering their competition was they asked, what was your inspiration behind the look? And then what I added onto the questionnaire was, and sometimes it's like shit happens, right? But like what I added to the questionnaire was also like, what challenges did you encounter in trying to accomplish, whether it was the photo shoot, the hair, whatever. So I like this because I think it's going to give people a little bit more of an opportunity to say, like, this is why I am most proud of these 5 entries I'm going to enter, instead of like, here's 30 entries and we as judges have to then wade through all of them. I'm looking for quality.
I'm going to be reading essays for days, first of all.
I know.
Second of all, for those of you listening, coming from one of your judges, if you answer these essays, coming from one of your judges and a content educator, if you write these essays out and you take your time to explain like your inspiration and like all of that, copy and paste that into your notes and then make content out of it.
Ah, yes. Well, and so it's funny that you said that, like, even with the judges forums, I had asked you all a series of questions. That was all for content. It's all to do judge introductions, which I'm going to be getting to shortly. But yes, absolutely. A great point, because these things are, you don't often think about your inspiration or your struggle behind a look and sharing that with the community. But I probably will make a watermark for people to add if they want, because I do want support from people and I do want people to proudly share it, but it won't be required. You don't have to do that at all. I'll add it on Canva or something just so people have it to throw on there. But it won't be an Instagram-based contest.
Yeah. And I love that. And you did send us like the requirements for the judges thing, like, this date, this time, how we're going to vote or, figure it out or whatever. So just know I'm going to be reading essays forever, because I'm always so like curious in people's like answers, because I'm so thorough in mine.
Yes. Well, and even that stuff was really important to me, like deadlines, like the respect of having deadlines for these artists that care so much about your competition
and following through on the deadline.
Following through on the deadlines. Yeah, that was really important to me. Like when I tell you something's going to be done by this date, if I am wrong, I'll let you know ahead of time. But everything I have planned out, months in advance, because I've known, like, I don't want to let these guys down. I'm trying to make this a different experience. There's a lot of pressure on my shoulders, on myself, because I really do want this to be the best value, the best experience. I want this to change the way we all feel about each other and the industry. And
I'm just excited to meet people again. I haven't been to a show since 2019.
I haven't been to a hair show exactly. And this will be so many of the best people. Like, it feels like a family reunion for so many people that are coming. Like, The judges get a free ticket, so I hope they'll come. And, obviously the educators that'll be there, and then obviously the nominees that'll be there. I mean, there's just going to be, I think, the best people in our industry all in one room. And everyone is going to be staring at each other, not because they're judging each other, but because they like each other's outfits. And I'm really excited about that.
Oh, I already have my outfit picked out. Mine's definitely a recycle, reuse situation, but I don't even care because it's that good. Also, I will let everyone know I am that person that if you, I don't know if you're going to have like name tags or what, but if you come and talk to me, please tell me your Instagram handle because I will not know your name. I'm so bad about that.
Also, some of the things I want to tell you is not only will we have name tags, we'll have your name tag with your Instagram handle because I think that's how most of us know each other. Mm-hmm. I also want to add some sort of like a little pin or something, something that indicates that you're a hugger or that you're not a hugger.
Thank God. Yes, please. Oh my God. Unless like, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like, please don't, I don't know. I've gotten into some sticky situations with that before.
And there's so many neurodivergent people and people that are like on the spectrum that do vivids and just people that we all deserve respect and consent. And I know we're all excited to see each other, but like in an ideal world, again, just trying to think of anything that can make everyone the most comfortable. I had one of Liv, the stylist that works here, her mom is like an American Sign Language interpreter, asked if we need any interpreting services.
I love that.
I've been working with Preston to make sure that things are ADA compliant. I mean, they all are really up on it at the Armory, but just even in terms of like, what do you need? Like, I know it's ADA compliant, but what would you appreciate in addition to
small
that?
details?
So, small details, just making sure there's extra spaces and places for her and for anyone who needs them. Mm-hmm. And so another thing I'm excited about is that I'm adding an anti-sensory room. So the anti-sensory room is going to be where the chair massages are. So I know during a lot of these events, we're going, you can't always go back to the hotel
and recharge.
You're overstimulated. Your phone is dying. So we're going to be putting phone chargers in there. The massage therapist will be in there. We'll have couches in there and it'll be kind of more of a silent room where you can just like decompress for a little bit without having to like completely leave.
Well, so, I'm glad you said that.
Every little thing that I've been missing, I'm trying to take care of for everybody.
I'm glad you said that because one of the questions that we got on the questionnaire, which I'm currently trying to pull up so I can word it properly. She said, as an autistic stylist, I struggle at these events. Will there be any accommodations? So I'm glad that you mentioned that because that does kind of answer her question. But also on that same subject matter, like a lot of us are spicy. I'm trying to picture what this will look like. Like you've posted pictures of the Armory. You had mentioned, and I don't want to say it just in case like that's not happening or whatever, but you had mentioned something about the award show having a lot of things that other ones don't have and like how it was going to be a different, maybe even a little bit more formal. So I'm kind of like wondering if you can walk us through what the show is going to look like. Is there going to be a quote connection center? Is there going to be, like what are the stages going to look like? Are they going to be hair demonstrations and all that different type of stuff?
All right, let me pull up my notes so I can kind of run you through what I think the day will look like. Okay, so basically model prep, if there's any, will happen on like the 2nd. Then the November 3rd is day 1. So
that's Sunday?
So this is actually going to help me kind of explain a little bit too of what people can expect. So in addition to this being about hair color and education, one of the things that you and I have talked a lot about is changing the expectations for how we are treating our bodies and minds as stylists. Mm-hmm. So a whole part of this is going to be, and has been for the last few months for me, practicing what I'm preaching in terms of taking care of my body. So mornings, we're going to be having check-in with coffee and breakfast. It may not be a huge breakfast, but I want people to be fed first thing in the morning so you guys can operate and run the way we should be. And so that way you can go back to the salon and eat breakfast that morning and every morning after that.
I'll tell you right now, if food is put in front of me, I will eat it. If it's not there, I'm not eating it and I'm only having coffee. And I feel like a lot of us are like that. Yeah,
exactly. So again, this is all like with sponsors. Like I'm trying to work really closely with sponsors to have this stuff provided for us gratis. So that way it's not reflected in the ticket cost because I have really close relationships with small businesses here. So I'm doing my best to try to like make this, the tickets as valuable, but like also inexpensive as possible by doing that work. So hopefully breakfast and coffee in the mornings will be provided. Then we'll kind of do like a little opening. So the first person I have on the schedule is going to be curly blonding. So like to me, texture was a really important part of this. Understanding how to safely lighten curly hair, where we can push it. So we have two different educators that specialize in black hair and curly hair. And so that is something that will be happening. We have another educator who will be discussing color. So we actually don't have a ton of color education. There's like, I think 3 people that are actually teaching bleach and color. Everything else is extensions, wigs, and like
all the stuff you don't see at other shows.
Still stuff you don't see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we discussed our tax conversation. Also, we'll be blocking out time for lunch because again, that is something that I want you guys to do at work, right?
Well, a lot of other countries shut down. They're like siesta, lunchtime, dinner time. Like we'll open back up later.
See, we have such a limited amount of time together that I'm trying to figure out how to like make the lunch thing work, but also not cut into the day because the day is, even though it ends up being really, really long with the travel and everything, we have such a limited amount of time slots. So even if we do a 30-minute lunch, I just want to make sure that lunch is something that I'm saying to you all because I'm like, lunch. Another thing I actually want to work on is in the sponsorship swag bags. I want to talk to Factor because I've been eating those Factor meals. And
I've seen that on your stories.
I just love them.
Yeah.
I just really like them for the salon. And so I want to try to see if I can get a free Factor box for everybody's swag bag because they'll
that would be great because I want to try that.
Right. And if anyone ever wants one, I can send you a box. So I can send you a box after this. But I was just thinking, even in terms of, again, helping continue this at home, if you were given a free box of lunches, those are 7 lunches for the week that you could take to work or a dinner for when you got home after you didn't work all week. So again, just really trying to take care of everyone's body, their minds, everything.
Right.
So then on the schedule is festival braiding and TikTok growth. Hair extensions, possibly tinsel extensions as well. One person we have coming they'll be talking kind of about like mental and physical health, meditation, things like that. Then we'll do the closing statement. That day is going to be around like 3:50 to 4 o'clock. Then that's day 1. We go back to the hotel to get ready for the awards show. Then we come back for the awards show where we'll do, now this is going to be kind of exciting because again, I have local connections. So the news will be there. We'll be having another film crew from American Dream Home, which is like actually a realty reality show.
Interesting.
But we'll be having like a red carpet. We'll be having the news will be there. The newspapers, TV, everything will be there. And be able to have like a proper walk-in with everyone with their outfits, which I'm really excited to see how people dress for this because we're fucking extra. And I cannot wait to see the outfits that Vivid hairstylists wear to a Vivid specific hair show. Like, I just think it's going to be the greatest fashions ever.
I think a lot of people, what is the word that I'm looking for? They dull themselves for other shows because they don't want to be too over the top, but they do a little something. So I think this is a place where people are going to feel like they can be 100% like wild. And I love it.
Yeah. I mean, push yourself outside of your own box for this, whether it's your work, whether it's what you wear, how you do your makeup there. Like, I just want this to be a very liberating experience for everyone. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see how people dress. So then we'll have the awards show that night. So I want to include food at the awards show. That's something else that I was missing from other awards shows is we're sitting there for hours. We're being pumped full of alcohol. We are not being fed. And then by the time we get done, all of the restaurants around us are closed. So I'm trying to figure out with the size of the space. I don't think we're going to do a formal sit down dinner. I think we'll probably do like pass around hors d'oeuvres, but I think even that would just be something again to like care for people and make sure they eat. And then we'll probably hook up with like a local restaurant to do an after party or something there to make sure that there's a restaurant that's open late for everyone to still go to after the awards show if they want.
Right. And that's what you had told me that I was like, maybe I don't mention this because I'm not sure, but there it is.
Yeah. So we might be doing an after party. We'll see about that. I also wanted to bring in some food trucks, but the venue has contracts with catering companies that we have to figure out. So there's a bunch of stuff on the sponsorship level that is undetermined right now, which is also making figuring out the cost of the ticket a little difficult. I just need more time. It was hard because I had to throw up the Instagram page pretty much as soon as I met with the Armory, because they were like, how many people do you think are coming to this? And I was
You're like, I have no fucking clue.
I have no idea. So I literally only started the Instagram page just see how many Vivid hairstylists were even out there and who would be interested in this. And so now we're over 2,000 followers, and it's.
Didn't you already book out the whole first block of hotels already too?
The first two.
I have no room yet. I was like, shit. And I will tell you, I'm glad you specified the price of the hotel room, because at first I was like, this is $59 a night. Are you fucking serious?
No.
I was like, let's roll. Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is that there are Airbnbs around here and other hotels around here that are not very expensive. So I do want to mention that you do not have to stay at that hotel. That's just a nice hotel that's incredibly close to the venue, that was willing to do a great room rate for us. So you don't have to stay there, but yeah, the first 2 room blocks have already sold out, which was pretty surprising. So that's
how many rooms were in each block? Do you know?
I think there were 10 rooms per block, so it's 20 rooms are gone at least.
So, and there's only 400 tickets. Is that correct?
And I think there's actually less than 400. So originally the venue had told me there's 400 tickets. Mm-hmm. There's room for 400 is what they said. But once we start counting in the educators, the support staff that need to be there, the booth vendors, we're probably looking at closer to 300 now. They think 350, but I also don't want people to be jammed in. We need people to be able to see, you know, like
to be able to breathe.
Screens.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So as much as I want to cram in as many people as I can, and I'm terrified to sell out, you know, I want to make sure that I'm not cramming people in either. So it's somewhere between like 300 or 250 to 350 tickets is what they've told me. So now that I've been traveling for the last 3 weeks, pretty much nonstop, but I'm back right now. And so this kicks off the week of like getting back to work with this and scheduling different walkthroughs for different purposes and really hammering those numbers down. So I'm hoping, like, ticket sales, I believe, are going on sale May 1st. So I'm hoping
that's
by
soon.
Like, it is soon. So, and if I have to push it back later, I have to push it back later based off of like sponsorship stuff and whatever. But I'm hoping for May 1st because people want them out ASAP. And then we'll probably end up doing like a VIP situation just because of seating to make it fair. Like those front row tickets have to be a little bit more than the ones that are in the back, right? So there will probably be pricing tiers. So that way, if you want to come, but you can't afford to sit right up front, there's still space for you. And if you want that seat right up front, that there is space for you.
So what does parking look like? Or like people who are driving in and not, you know, or renting a car or whatever?
Yeah. So parking is going to be, I mean, we are in a city, so parking is going to be city parking. Like I said, there are ADA lots that are right on front on site. And then there's a ton of lots around and on the street. So parking's not the best. There's not a huge parking lot, but there's parking all around. And I think a lot of people are going to be ending up staying at the hotel and probably taking like an Uber in or something. So I did try to get a shuttle for us. That was something that I was working on.
I saw that. Yeah.
Honestly, the liability is too much. Like it's cost too much money to shuttle people back and forth all day, or even to have like a scheduled time. It was going to be like $1,300 or $1,600 basically for like one day. And so that was going to make everyone's ticket price jump up so much.
Yeah.
And so then, you know, we considered a couple different options. It's not completely off the table yet. I think it would be a really good idea to like help people get shuttled in, cut down on rideshare, keep things running on time really uniformly. Mm-hmm. So that's not off the table, but it's just, it was a big cost and like, that's like only for say 50 people, right? Like, right. What if more than 50 people stay at the hotel that need a shuttle? So there's just a lot of things to consider. And again, I'm learning it all. So but
we're on our own at other shows. Like we're all big girls. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
True. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
I did want to ask you, I just had them. I had it. It was, and now it's, woohoo. So the awards, you know how like some award shows, like the ticket is separate costs. Like, is the award show included in the ticket?
The award show is included in the ticket. So unfortunately, that means that there will be no extra tickets, right? So if we don't sell out, then yeah, we can sell separate tickets if you want to bring your boyfriend or your mom or whatever. But in terms of the tickets, I wanted it to be included. The whole point of this is to like bring all of us together like this. So I figured if we're going to make it one ticket, the awards show is included. That also might mean that like someone who gets a nomination, if you don't buy a ticket, you can't come, and that sucks. But I will ship out the award. You'll still get the recognition for it. I think what will probably happen is if they're not able to come, we will probably let the winners know ahead of time so they can record like a thank
that'll be
you
nice.
video.
Yeah.
And and then we'll do a live vote, which I'm really excited about too. So everyone who is at the show will have like one ticket, and we'll get to vote for, we'll have, our selected looks or whatever. The nominees, essentially, they'll get to pick from their nominees, and then one person will get a live viewer's choice vote, which is really cool because only the people that are present at the event can vote on that.
That's awesome.
That's as fair as I can make it. That is as fair as I can possibly make it, right?
Yeah. I mean, it is very different than what a lot of us are used to. And I think that, there's probably going to be some gripes or whatever about that, which
I'm sure.
And not from a place of like, this sucks and it's stupid, but just like, we have to adjust. Like, a lot of us, like, we don't like change. Like, we're used to what we're used to.
Yeah, I know.
But I do
it's not all going to be a live vote. Just the one.
Right. Yeah. Vote. But I do want to get into questions, but I want you to tell us about day 2 before we do that.
Day 2. Yeah. So again, check-in, coffee, kind of opening recap, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Then we're going to be sitting down with my marketing company. So one of the things that, again, I wanted to be transparent that I own a marketing company because I think that Behind the Chair is a marketing company and really doesn't talk about that. But I'm not looking to necessarily make money off of stylists. I'm looking to help them grow their businesses. So I wanted to give my marketing company a time slot to be able to do that. We also would like for the marketing company to have a booth we're going to be setting up a booth to be able to do stylist headshots. There are so many people that don't have fucking headshots. So we're going to set up a stylist area with all the props you need. We're going to have a couple of different blazers. If you're not happy with your outfit, you want to throw something on. And we're going to have our photographer taking headshots. Everyone will get a headshot to leave with.
Well, also, if they know that's going to be there, bring some, like a jacket, or if you have like a fucking rainbow sequins, whatever that you want to wear for your headshot.
People are going to be dressing. Yeah, people are going to be dressing for the event anyway. So it'll be a perfect outfit to wear for your headshot. So,
and this is perfect for that luxury Vivids thing that we were talking about too, with the branding.
Exactly. Well, and I really considered that too. When you and I had spoken about the luxury Vivids, was adding the mature Vivids category to the awards show, the Vivids over 50, because going back to controlling the trends, there are so many people that think that they're aging out of Vivids when in fact, no, you're aging into pastels, or you're aging into.
Look at James Marsters. He does all like on all age people. Yeah. And it's always stunning.
I mean, he's got yes, absolutely. So that was something where, like, going back to the luxury idea, like, we are who we tell them we are, and we can still be professionals and have headshots and
wear rainbows,
educational events taught by people that are fully tattooed. Absolutely. So, so that will be part of that. Then we'll have a section on vivid color. Then we'll have lunch. Then we'll have a speaker. Then we'll have another section on clipper cutting with hair tattoos. Like the design work. Then will be the wig section. And then pretty much it's closing down and time to go home. So
I'm excited. Yeah. It sounds super fun. One of the questions that I did get in the sticker links was, will there be like a judges panel, like whether it's before the show or after the show or whatever? A
judges panel. So, I'm trying to figure out where the judges fall right now. There are some people that, like, we've spoken kind of tentatively about it. There's some people that, like, I know for sure that I want them there, and we've definitely spoken about it. Right now, I'm still figuring out the time of everything, right? Like the timing. How much time do I have? There's wiggle room in there. There's panels that I have in there. And one of them is like with the marketing. One of the marketing things I wanted to do was have one of our marketing girls lead a panel on social media with like you, Sydney and Lopez, and then a few other people. Because I think that social media specifically for hairstylists and
very important
platforms is so different, right? So like we can talk about, like, the marketing company can talk as much as we want about what we advise, because there are some real basics that people are missing. And what I actually would like to say on here too is, here are some of the things that I am missing from people's profiles. Okay. First of all, when I am looking to find vivid pages on the Rainbow Convention page, If your profile picture is not a picture of you with vivid hair, I'm moving on. If you are a vivid hairstylist, if you are calling yourself a vivid specialist, you have to have vivid hair and it has to be in your profile picture. Second of all, where do you live? Why is
location?
No one putting your city and state in their bio anymore? I don't know where anyone lives anymore. So like, even in terms of like, are you on the West Coast? Or I have no idea. And then lastly, another thing I want to mention is if you're going to call yourself a vivid stylist, please have at least your vivid work pinned to the top of your page. Because again, if I'm going to your page and you don't have vivid hair, I'll scroll down for about a minute. But if I don't see at least one vivid in that window pane of like 8 or 9 photos, then I'm going to move on and assume you're not a vivid specialist.
You just dabble.
So those are just some things that like I have learned so much starting this new page and immersing myself in this new page and seeing how just vivid artists are marketing themselves. And those are just like a couple of tidbits that I want to mention in terms of marketing. But yeah.
Well, yeah, because that was one of the things, you know, that people had asked me even, and I was like, I don't fucking know how to answer this.
So we're gonna be talking about social media. There's so much that still needs to be done. And again, in the beginning, it was just starting the page to find out the interest. Now that I'm back from these 3 weeks of trips, it really is crunch time. And again, I've taken off about 3 days a week to work on this. It's also tax time, so I'm still working on that too. You know, I'm self-employed. I've got a lot of balls in the air, doing the best I can and trying to stick to deadlines. But yeah, well, we would likely have a panel of judges who are there and speaking. It also depends on who ends up coming, because like I can't afford to pay for everybody's like flight and hotel and everything. But like I'm giving the judges all a free ticket. So any judges that are coming that want to speak on the panel, 100%.
Yeah, personally, I can drive. And you know, I love the drive at that time of year. So I'm like, I'm happy to do that. But
it is such a nice time of year too for it.
It really is. And I do want to like disclaim this before we get to the next question. Like I have been there at the time of year that this is happening. And if you are a fall girly, if that is like your vibe, this little town is so like, you're going to love it.
Spooky season.
Yes. So the next question is, will work on mannequins and wigs qualify if they don't have models?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, so we did add a before picture as part of the wig category. So essentially in the jot form, when you enter your look, you know, your 5 after photos, then there's going to be little boxes that you click for what categories this is applicable to. So extensions, hollow placement, transformation, whatever. You can click as many categories as apply. And so then essentially we'll go through and say, okay, this one is definitely a shoe-in for hollow and for transformation or whatever. And then the judges will pick their top 10, we'll converse and kind of go from there. So a lot of people had questions about the wigs with like the before pictures. I do want a before picture of the wig just because I want to make sure it's not coming in a color, and I want to make sure, I want to see the starting point.
Yeah, I want to see the palette. Yeah.
It doesn't, I did say it has to be put on a human because I want to see it on a human. If you want to enter a mannequin head, obviously, like I make up the rules. I can change them as I please. So I'm going to say, if you want to enter a mannequin head, enter a mannequin head. If you want to enter a wig, please put it on a human. And then
that shouldn't be
in terms of, that should be too hard. And then in terms of a before picture also with the wigs, some people were like, well, I want to enter this wig, but I already did it and I didn't take a before picture. Well, I'm sure you're going to enter in another wig. So if you take a before picture and it's the same wig, essentially, like it's the same style, same brand wig, I will allow it. Or if you have a video, take a screenshot of the before in the video. I'll be flexible with the before pictures on wigs and stuff. But obviously for transformation and stuff, we'll need...
The next question says, what are some key factors for qualifying material? Now, I do feel like this question thing, I can't remember honestly if it was put out before or after you listed the categories. So the categories are out and you can go find that information over on the Rainbow Convention page, which all of Jordan's stuff will be linked in the show notes, which I think those categories actually do give very specific qualifying for each category. But if you want to elaborate on that question, then.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, essentially, to qualify for it, you have to put in the work, whether it's, the before photos, the after photos, the written portion. I myself am not a photographer. I don't like taking pictures. I absolutely hate it. I would rather do reels all day.
There is an episode about us talking about this.
Yes. But that might change in the future. We might have less categories in the future. We might have some video categories in the future. Again, I really didn't want to make this an Instagram contest, but sometimes you can't quite capture.
I like that there's no video category.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it a little less hokey and a little bit more respectable, I guess, So for this year, no videos, and really qualifying, you just have to put in the effort. But I will say that I fully intend on favoring the efforts of the people that have gone out to find a model and put together a whole well thought out shoot.
What do I always say in these episodes, guys? Basic effort.
Yeah. I do want people to go above and beyond. I think like when you look at people's work where they're going above and beyond, they're taking into consideration like making a mood board, making an inspiration board, putting out a model call, which I'm also going to be coming up with like model release forms for people to send to their models to keep everything like legal, especially for the kids category. And then also, got to be on that. And then also I'll come up with like a little model call with the Rainbow Convention information on it. So that way people can also post that and get their clients interested in it. So I think a lot of this too is to try to push stylists out of their comfort zone. To be better or do better. Outgoing and to be brave. Look, guys, like if you want more vivid clients, go out there and get them. Like use every opportunity to have conversations about hair and how, it sucks sometimes because it becomes your whole world, but it's how you become hugely successful. So I'm just trying to bring everyone up with me, trying to teach them everything I know.
So, one of the big topics about content surrounding these award shows is intellectual property. So is that just going to be on the Jot form where it explains like where their content's going, what you're going to do with it, or that's the question.
Basically, yes. When you fill out the Jot form, it's going to have a section that explains that like this is your work. This is like you're allowing us to use it for the purposes of posting on our social media. So I can share your work on our Instagram because we want to share you. Like it's not just about us profiting. It is about like wanting to put them on a platform as well. Sharing our work on our social media, being able to use it to print the programs for the event. So that way you can have your work published maybe for the first time and take it home with you. If we ever end up putting it on the website, things like that. And then of course, if anyone ever doesn't want any of their content shared, like all you have to do is write to me and let me know. But for the most part, this just says like, we're able to use it to promote the event, to share the event, to share you. And by entering those looks, you give us permission to do that.
Is there an end date on that where it's like we are able to use these looks from November of 2023 to November of 2024 to 2025?
I will probably put an end date on that. It's a good point that you mentioned that. Just to make things most transparent and clear, I would probably say it'll be about a year.
So you can promote the next one and move on, not like...
Yes, exactly. And not continuously use old images. And I don't want to like take advantage of anyone allowing us to use their work, especially if one of those images goes crazy, crazy viral. I don't want to own that. That's not my work. Like you deserve that.
The next question is how to enter collabs and what categories will allow collabs.
Okay, so that was a big thing. So I wasn't sure. People get a little too overzealous with the collabs. One person foils one thing or holds one thing.
It's a collab
to me. Yeah. So there's definitely times, especially with extension work, where it is a two-person job, and I respect that. So what I decided to do was to not do a collaboration category, but to make every category eligible for collaboration. And there'll be a little box when you apply that says, is this look a collaboration? If so, who is your collaboration buddy? And then we'll need their contact information as well. In addition, your collaboration buddy also has to submit the whole entry form as well with their answers, the same photos and everything.
And if they don't, then it's not considered?
And if they don't, it won't count as a collaboration, no. So both parties have to enter because I need consent from both people. But yeah, as long as that happens, then any category could be eligible for it. So, and all that means is that I have to just make 2 trophies. So hopefully it doesn't mean that every category becomes a collaboration because these trophies get expensive.
This next one says, how do you guys feel about saving tickets for people who already booked their hotel room? Which is fair.
That is very fair. So, what do I want to say about this? So basically there are people that I know have booked their hotel rooms that from day fucking one of me starting this page, have been supportive, that I will 100% be sending them a link before anyone else to buy their tickets. Yes, absolutely. Because I can do that. And because they bought their hotel already. So it doesn't mean that I'm going to be sending it to everyone. I think that like, again, most of the people that have bought tickets are people that are bought hotel rooms already, are people that like have full intentions on coming, or people that I already know. So I'll probably like drop them a link maybe a couple hours before, just to make sure that they get their ticket and make it fair. Because you can still cancel your room, but obviously their heart is so much in this that I want to honor that and kind of give them like a little sneaky in link. So
right. And that's nice too, because like if there are, I also would imagine too, and I didn't think about this when I read the question, like you wouldn't give out more or book out more hotel rooms than there are tickets. So everybody should be able to get,
And that's why the blocks are done 10 at a time. So that way it's not like 100 rooms are booked, 400 people are coming in those 100 rooms. What do we do now? Right. So there is a level of like control I'm trying to have so it doesn't get screwed up and disorganized. So there'll be more information kind of hitting the Instagram. And then we also have the rainbowconvention.com website, which has the booking link for the Marriott hotel and all the travel information, what airports you should fly into, things like that.
So I will link the website, both Jordan's regular page and the Rainbow Convention page will all be linked in the show notes. I mean, I don't have anything else to link other than like, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, stories that you want to write in, the email will also be in the show notes. I want to thank you for coming on and just, giving me about an hour of your time today. I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody can make it. Like, I think that it's going to be super fun. And I'm just excited to meet not only like the Vivid community, but like my community, because I have not been out in the world in like 5 fucking years.
Friends, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I'm really excited to see everything come together. And it's been cool to see the community build on the actual Instagram and to like see how fast it's grown and how supportive people are. And just to see how it's going to go in person, I think will be really cool. And of course, we'll have more surprises and all sorts of good stuff. And yeah, like you said, my DMs are open. Like as much as this is in my control, I do want people to give me their recommendations or suggestions. If there's accommodations that you might need or want, especially as someone who's on the spectrum, or if you have any other disabilities that you need assistance with, like that is something that I have control over. That is something that I want to make sure that this is accessible for everyone. I'm going to try to see if we can stream stuff and make it even more accessible beyond that. We'll see. I've got a lot of work to do over the next couple of months. But again, like this is why
you're on it though. Like
people should make money on this. It's a lot of work. So, but I'm going to take care of it all. So that way when people arrive, it's just the most amazing soul filling experience, mind, body, soul, all of it. Like you just feel reborn.
You leave feeling inspired and I don't know about refreshed because, some of those events can become tiring.
Be a little burnt out, but you're going to want to go home and paint some shit. And that's what I want.
And you'll leave with new friends.
And new friends. And I don't know about you, but every time we get together with like our hair friends, I always just felt like I learned so much from them. That's where I also feel like people will be inspired. It's not just by the education we're giving you, but by the connections you're going to make with so many other people that have so much to offer.
Yeah, there's a stylist battery that we all have that it gets very full and like recharged at these shows. So Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If you have any questions, all of Jordan's stuff will be linked in the show notes. Feel free to DM her over on the Rainbow Convention page. Send any questions that you might have, and I will talk to you guys next week. Okay, bye.